hopefully more people will join us. Okay. Hold on. How do we... Okay. So in the bottom corner, Dave, there's a little backslash.
Yes.
Click that and then click notify your followers. And it will tell everyone that
wonderful.
That follows you that we're on here.
And that just notify, no other message?
Yeah, do notify and then click return, and then it'll say, do you want to notify? And it'll tell you how many followers you have. And then click yes.
It didn't, it just says notify your followers, but it didn't give me an additional.
Isn't there something to click on that? Like the little pop-up?
No.
I don't know. All right. Well, we'll start. We have some eyes, some people here with us. Hi, my name is Tara Reed, and I am the creator of Pivot to Happy and one of the two hosts of the Courageous Alzheimer's and Dementia Caregivers Blab today. And I would like to welcome my buddy Dave. I think he's that way. Did I point the right way?
Perfect. Thank you.
It looks like I'm pointing opposite you. I don't understand. Anyway, he actually lives pretty close to me, but we have never met in person. This is as close as we've ever gotten. So you've got to love technology. Heaven forbid we drive 20 minutes and have coffee.
We actually did meet at an Alzheimer's Association conference.
Oh, you're right.
That was the very first time and only time, actually.
Okay, you're right. So I have met him. We start out with silly things. Okay, so before we officially start, if you're here live on Blab, in the upper left corner, there's a share last 30 seconds. And I think if you click that, it will give you the option to tweet or share to Facebook. If you want to tweet, you need to click the X over that black box because it, for some reason, doesn't actually work, or at least it hasn't in the past Blabs that I've done. And then just type something, and then everybody that follows you on Twitter will know that we are here doing fun stuff and hopefully will join us. I am really excited to have you here today, Dave.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
Yeah, he is from Calendar Cards, and he's right. I did meet him in person at the McGinty Conference, which is sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association in Portland every November. It was an amazing event, and one of my favorite things was just meeting all the vendors and all the people doing cool stuff to support people in this situation, shall we say, on this journey, all different things. So Calendar Cards is really cool, and I wish we had known about it earlier in our journey. So it's a great system for people who are in the early stages of dementia or aging parents that just really want to live by themselves and need a little boost, or you as their child or whatever needs a little reassurance that things are going to get done in the time that they're supposed to get done. So can you tell us a little bit more, because you're the expert on this product, and tell us a little bit about how you created it?
You bet. First off, thanks very much for having me on here. This is a wonderful opportunity to talk to a lot of people that are doing a lot of good things out there, and we all need extra ideas whenever we can come up with them. And you do a great job of spreading that word. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Calendar Cards was created very specifically for my co-founder's mother-in-law. She was having some memory challenges around the home, and they were using all sorts of checklists and Post-it notes and medication journals and just about everything you could think of just to help her stay on track. And most of it was working reasonably well, but none of it was working perfectly. And
Story of a dementia journey.
Yeah, well, you made a comment a moment ago about wishing that you knew about this early on, and it's a real bittersweet kind of feedback that we get when people say, "Gosh, where were you a year ago?"
Right.
Well, we just started last September, so we're just really getting rolling. But if anyone has been to our website, calendarcards.com, you'll see the picture of the people that use our system. We call them our carders. And our favorite carder is Ladil, who is my co-founder's mother-in-law. And her bright smile is the image of our website. But she still uses calendar cards, and she still lives in her own home, fortunately. She does have caregivers check on her every day, just more for physical support. But calendar cards is a key part of helping her remember important things around the home. It was my co-founder and his wife were several times minutes away from some disaster when it came to a stove being left on and Ladil not being nearby. So it's been providing a lot of comfort and confidence for her as well. And we're just happy to be able to bring this to a lot of people.
Great. I'm tweeting that. Hold on. Found your home. Okay. Like it. Okay. Well, very cool. So, I mean, that's definitely one of those struggles that we have as our parents age or as our partners age. It's that, can they stay home? You know, when do we step in as kids? How do we support them? And isn't there, like, there's a term, aging in place? And is that kind of your market, for the people?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we have several different areas where calendar cards can be effective for people. But aging in place, keeping people in their own homes for as long as is safe for them and as appropriate for them,
right,
is really the number one goal. If you think about the progression that people take, whether it's starting out with a little memory challenge, maybe some physical challenges as time goes on. While assisted living is an appropriate solution for some people, it's very expensive.
Yes.
And our hope is that if calendar cards can help a family keep a loved one in their own home, even if it's for a few more months, and they feel safe and confident and comfortable there in their own home, that's a few months of a lot of assisted living expenses that they've deferred. Yeah. So you know, it's a combination of helping people stay confident, but also helping family members deal with a very difficult financial transition if people really do need to transition into assisted living. So if we can defer those costs, then you know we've done good by the family as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's thousands of dollars a month,
yep.
right? You know, yep. I know memory care certainly is. Assisted living isn't all that much less expensive. Mm-hmm. So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when you mentioned memory care, you know, the important thing to know about calendar cards is, while it's very appropriate for a lot of people, it's not for everyone. We recognize that as people progress and they get into the later stages, when memory care is something that's being considered, we recognize that they need additional, very specialized kinds of support, and we can't help them there, unfortunately. But everything early on, and we encourage people to start using calendar cards as early as possible, because the longer you do something, the longer you retain that skill and that knowledge, and hopefully the longer they'll be able to benefit from it as well.
Yeah, get it to become a habit before they get
early on, right?
Too confused. So can you show it to us and tell us like how it works? Does the person use it independently? Do they need help setting it up? Like, tell us a little bit more about how it works.
Yep, good question. It really is. I mean, it's intended to be used by, as I said, our carders, but we don't expect them to set up their own system. This is something that is very specifically a caregiver tool that's designed for the caregiver, whether it's a professional that comes into the home, whether it's a family member, the caregiver, this is their tool. So we provide some startup materials, very simple steps. And this is kind of like grade school. I'm doing a show and tell here, which is fun. So we provide a getting started guide, and I'm assuming that comes through okay.
Yep, I can see
it. And it's just a very simple 1, 2, 3 step checklist. And on the back, we show how the system looks when it's all loaded up on in the stadium. And I'll show you that here in a second. But basically, it's just 3 steps. And we want the caregiver to first have a conversation with the carder before they even start to develop any of the daily activity cards, activity decks. And what we did was we recognized that sometimes it's hard for the carder to see a lot of cards on the table and the caregiver moving cards around to create these activity decks. And so what we did was we created what we call an activity journal. And let's see, let's do this. And the activity journal is something that the caregiver can use to simply have a conversation with the carder, use this as a way to just document how their week unfolds, when their medications are taken, what kind of activities they have each day, and just have a comfortable conversation with them rather than try to shuffle cards in front of them, which, as we know, when people start to have some challenges with cognitive impairment, they get overwhelmed quickly and they get confused, and too much stimulus can be a problem. So just
having to play cards.
They want to play cards. Well, we chose cards on purpose, you'll see in a minute, for that tactile feel, and we did that quite purposefully. But this way, the activity journal allows them just to have a conversation, design the week, and then go away and build the daily decks. Once those decks are built, then they put them in what's called a stadium. And if I can do this without disrupting the apple cart here, but this is the stadium. Okay. And it is set up in such a way that you can see each of the daily decks. I'll get a little closer here so you can see that. Each of the daily decks, so you can tell what's coming at a glance, somewhat of a spatial understanding of the week as far as what's coming. But we designed this in such a way so that it would be very, very easy for the carder to use. All we want them to do is simply take the first card, move it over into the discard slot, exposing the first card of their day. So at 7 a.m., all they have to worry about is moving the card over, and it reminds them to meet for breakfast. Or there's a blue health card that says eat a healthy breakfast. So it depends on how you have this customized. Okay. So when breakfast is over, they don't have to remember anything except just move the card. And now they don't have to worry about anything until 9 o'clock when they take some medication. So what we do here is simply break down an entire week of activities, not in an overwhelming kind of checklist or a wall full of Post-it notes, but rather individual cards that you can see. This one is blank, so it allows you to customize the medication. When that is done, they don't have to worry about a thing until 10. And guess what? 10 o'clock on Sunday is time for church. So we have nearly 200 cards that are part of the standard deck. And it ranges from, as you can see, church, medication, doctor's appointments. Is it garbage day? You got to go check for the mail. A red important card is used to remind them to close the doors, lock the doors, turn off the stove, those kinds of things at the end of the day. And I'll take this down here now. Oh, and we provide a marker in the stadium for customizing the cards. And then over here are just the unused cards that you may not be using in a given week. So let me get this out of the way here before I drop it.
Okay. So what would happen if the family didn't live nearby?
This allows a family to actually be more involved. The experience we've had is that while Ladil and her family live close by, they actually can participate in her daily schedule with the caregivers checking on her now by being involved with setting up the schedule. And the family, whether they live closer or far away, they can actually be a part of. We want our loved one to get exercise. We want them to make sure they take their meds. We have activities set up for them, and we want to make sure they go visit their friends. Whatever that is, they can actually impart their wishes through, let's say, the local caregivers to make sure that a schedule is followed. Now, from the caregiver perspective, they can then make sure that when they come into the home, they can make sure the carder is following the medication cards, make sure that the cards are discarded into that slot appropriately for the time of day. And in effect, they can kind of check on them. Hey, how come you haven't moved your card? And help them kind of remember to stay on track that way. So it allows the family members to actually, almost by proxy, to stay more involved, even though geographically they might be a farther distance away.
Okay. So since we're talking about distance, Now I'm echoing all of a sudden. How come it's not an app?
Based on the demographic, we decided that an app probably wasn't something that we wanted to pursue. We knew that we wanted something simple, familiar. There were a lot of iterations to get to what we see today. But when we got to the point where we realized that a playing card, and oh, you remember this one? This is what that's where we met at the McGinney conference.
Yeah.
But a playing
Save
card
it for next year.
Yeah, I can use it again. The playing cards. I mean, we all know what a playing card feels like. I mean, it's smooth. It's you can shuffle them. You know that we all grew up with them. So we wanted something that was familiar, comfortable, that wouldn't break, batteries wouldn't die on a device or whatever it is. And we actually started by just printing on just regular paper cardstock out of our printers as a prototype, and realized that this was really the format we needed to use just for the ease of handling. And when we came to the deal with this quality of card, and she liked the way it felt, and she could pick one card up at a time easily, we knew we were onto something. And she loves it. She uses it every day. She tells her friends when they come to visit. She shows them the calendar card system. But we just didn't want to go there. There's a lot of fine apps out there, but it just wasn't for us.
Well, even when we were talking, hello, I'm not sure how to say your name, Sophia993. Welcome. You were saying that even if the calendar cards could keep somebody in their home 1 month, 2 months, 3 months longer than they might have been able to, that's going to save people a lot of money and, oh good, I said it right, and time. And having something physical is going to extend that amount of time. I know with my dad, the first thing that became a huge problem was the phone. He couldn't answer it right. He was hitting buttons wrong. He was butt dialing all the time. And so if it was an app where they had to figure out different things to push, I would think that the amount of time that they could use it into the dementia journey would be definitely decreased.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I've learned. And I have to admit, before I started on this project, I really didn't have any direct exposure. Since I've since learned that I have a cousin with early stage Alzheimer's, and have learned a lot in the last couple of years during this development. But one of those things, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, is those things that we know in our childhood oftentimes stay a lot longer than those things that we may have learned more recently. If once the different types of dementia start to come in, and we all grew up playing cards. We all know that feel, and the app world, the iPhones, and all of that. That's more recent relative to when we grew up, playing Go Fish. So you're exactly right. Having something like that is more familiar in our early lives, hopefully will be able to stay with us a lot longer and be able to keep us in our own home longer. And as you said, if we can help families delay the move to an assisted living kind of environment, even just for a few months, that's a lot of money that's deferred in those costs, and families can benefit from that. Not to mention keeping the carder, where they want to be in their own home for as long as possible.
Yeah, my mother-in-law is 81, and she recently moved. And when she was selling her house, the big question was, where should she move? Like, should she move to her own home? Should she move, into an assisted living? And she just was adamant. She's like, no, I don't want to be in assisted living. I want to be in my own home. So we found her a one-level home. But yeah, it's one of those things like, okay, could this possibly help her? Except she also has macular degeneration. So we have the issues with she can't see things well.
Sure.
So I'm going to throw you a question out of left field.
Okay.
Since you're the expert,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
right.
you're going to know.
Right.
So have you had people, how do carders usually respond to this? So like if somebody's here with us or sees this replay and they're like, oh, I think this is a great idea. My
Mhm.
mom or dad could benefit from them. And they just like say, hey, we're going to do calendar cards. Like, do people ever resist that? Or are they usually welcoming the help? Or is it how you present it? Like, how do you teach families
Yeah.
to integrate this in a good way?
As you can imagine, with every personality being a little different and every relationship being a little different, I guess my answer would have to be, it all depends. But what we encourage people to do is, wherever possible, engage the carder, involve them in the discussion, the setup. As I said, we've got the activity journal, so it's not so much we want them to help sort cards, but we want to have them part of the conversation about building their week. How do they like to do things? What do they want to do? And position calendar cards as a tool to help them remember to do the things they want to do. And of course, you got to put in other things that they should do.
Yeah, that's a great distinction. Like, so they don't feel like they're losing this independence by this coming in, but that they're keeping it.
Right. And one I mentioned, we want to keep people in their own homes. We sometimes do that with home care professionals that come in that help them use their system, but we also have folks that use it in assisted living environments. My favorite piece of feedback that I've gotten was from a gentleman who said that, now keep in mind, assisted living, they have programs, they have calendars, they have activities, they have a lot of things going on, but people still have to remember to go do them. And what he told me was he didn't forget to go watch Wheel of Fortune. Now, it's kind of comical, but for him, it was huge because that was an important part. And now he doesn't forget to do that. And that kind of warms your heart when you help people do something, help them remember to do something they want to do. And that's really the key is position it in such a way that it's a tool for them to help them remember to do all the things that they really want to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because, as much as you think, oh, if they're in assisted living, they should be letting everybody know. But, there's a limited amount of time. And at some point, especially when they are more independent, they need to rely on the calendar. And that's a great idea.
Right. So really, there's a lot of different areas that calendar cards can help. Although we developed it specifically for folks to stay in their own home, it can be beneficial to folks in a lot of different circumstances.
Yeah. Well, let me unlock the seat and see if April wants to chat with us. I'm wondering if this could be something that would... Oh, unlock. It was unlocked. April, you want to talk to us? You're the only one here live with us? She said she was doing something else too. Her grandmother, she helped take care of her grandmother who had Alzheimer's years ago. And now she has a son that has autism. So I'm wondering if that could help them stay on track as well.
I'd love to have the conversation with her. One of the things that has been a significant reaction to the calendar card system has been people pointing out that we really do. It would really help children. Now, some have indicated kids with learning disabilities, maybe ADD, ADHD, but just kids in general. And we actually have 3 active systems being just tested by kids to see what they think about this as a tool for them to plan their days. Now, this is pre-teens. This is the younger kids.
Right.
With the first test that we did with an early teenager, she was too old, and an iPhone app would have been probably better for her, which was not our game. But we do have this being tested by some kids, and the early feedback has been very positive in that they like designing their own kind of schedule and planning, and of course the parents love it because they're being taught some planning skills and prioritization skills and time management skills. So we're kind of optimistic. No, we don't have anything yet to provide, but maybe we could use your friend as another tester.
There you go. Well, she did say she was here but doing some other stuff, so she
That's
seems
fine.
to be doing some other stuff.
That's fine. Well, if it turns out she's interested, we can certainly have that conversation
We'll
later.
connect you. Now, let me just, since we're just a couple of us, do you see the circles at the top of the screen?
Yes.
You can see her head next to mine. Do you know about, click on that?
Let's see.
And you can follow her. And then you can, if you click on the Twitter.
Well, that's April. I'm already following her.
Okay. Now, are you following her on Twitter as well? If you click the bird, it'll open her Twitter account so that you can follow her on Twitter. So it's super easy to follow people. So maybe you can get in touch with her.
Oh my gosh. Done.
On Twitter, if you want to see if it might be something that she thinks could be helpful.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
I'm liking Blab.
Yeah. See, you didn't want to vlog in with Twitter, silly man. So, all right. Is there anything else? We don't really have anybody calling in at the moment. Is there anything else you want to?
Well, the only
cross to people
I'd like to do is the work that you do with the people with whom you interact. I mean, you do a lot of good work for folks from the artist perspective, as well as, and certainly the Dementia Road side of this. But I would like to offer anyone that is associated with you a kind of a group discount on any calendar cards purchase. And I was anticipating the video here, so I actually made a little prop. So
nice.
Let's see if I can do this without. There we go. What this is a discount code, Pivot 2016. And we can make this. You can make this available to any of your followers through Twitter or anything you'd like to do. But I wanted to just get that on record on the video there. But this discount code is something that will provide everyone a 20% discount if they order using that code from our website, and it's just a discount at the checkout part of it. But it's a way for me to say thank you to you for all the work you're doing, and certainly provide some extra value to the folks that follow you in the various channels. So I'd like to offer that for the rest of this year.
Well, excellent. Okay.
Now, one quick little footnote on this, though, for anybody that might jump on this right away or maybe see the replay soon. Over the last couple of days, for some reason, I've had trouble getting that code to work. And so since today is a Saturday, I have not been able to get it resolved, but I hope to get it resolved on Monday.
Okay.
So we can do a couple of things. If anybody orders and can't use the code, they can certainly get in touch, and I'll be happy to credit that difference. But I'm hoping on Monday it'll be all worked out, and the code should work just fine. So if it doesn't work, I'm not doing a bait and swap. Believe me, I'm not. Don't order if that's the case. Wait until it works, and then you can get your discount. But I apologize for that, but I wanted to let you know.
So let me know when it's working,
and
that's when I'll start putting it out there, so we don't have customer service issues for you.
Perfect. Good.
All right.
But that's my way of saying thank you, and I do appreciate this opportunity.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you, everyone who's watching and joined. I'm Tara Reid. You can find me at pivot2happy.com. It's PIVOTTO, happy, HAPPY.com. And I help family caregivers navigate the dementia and Alzheimer's journey. Because while no one can change the outcome, I firmly believe that with the right help and the right tools, like yours, if I'm pointing the right way.
Yeah.
Like calendar cards, we can change the journey for our loved ones and for ourselves. So that is my mission. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll sign off.